Hello my friends, Jacobs here once again. Thank you for pressing the play button, for coming to Jacob's Ladder for such a time as this. It's the robot takeover AI. The big beautiful bill has now just passed the Senate. This is huge news because in that bill there's some information that we've talked about previously and something that could be, well, we'll say catastrophic and concerning if it goes the wrong way, but that doesn't mean that it has to. And it has to do with artificial intelligence. There's no longer the ability for states to intervene and say, no, we want to regulate AI. No, we don't want AI to have access to our weapons and full autonomy. We don't want this, we don't want that. No, that has stopped it.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
No longer. There's a 10-year hold on all of this. So for 10 years, AI has the reins unless something changes. And that's concerning to a lot of people because they're going to be unleashing AI on Medicaid, on every aspect. Social Security. AI is going to be running loose and it's not going to be able to be regulated. Now, here's the reason, because it makes sense. China's not stopping. The other countries aren't stopping. They're not saying, oh no, you don't want to create an artificial intelligent being that's going to enslave us all. We want to be the first to do that. So America has to compete. This is that moment, as I said on a prior show. But that's not all that's going on right now, because this is crazy days, the end times, if you will. Supreme Court ruling. Amy Coney Barrett, who everybody was giving a hard time to because she always seemed to come up against Trump. They thought she was going to be conservative, but she wasn't. She was very outspoken and very supportive of what just went down in the Supreme Court. Now, this is unchecked power that's going on. The Supreme Court, I don't know if you're aware of this right now. There's a key debate going on under the fact that they are not allowing states, once again, to create any kind of injunctions or shut anything down. If Trump wants to, for example, end birthright citizenship, because this is center stage in all of this, then guess what happens? Well, it ends the moment that he says it ends in an executive order, and then it takes the courts now to fight it out, whereas before the courts could stop it and they'd need court approval. So right now, as it stands, Donald Trump could change a lot of things. I put out a couple of tests recently because, of course, the fake news media, as Trump likes to call it, has been saying some pretty awful things about the president and making a lot of things look a lot worse than they really are. Case in point, Iran and Israel, and saying that it was kind of a failure when it was a massive success. This guy, he comes in, he's the peacemaker, something that I said was going to happen because that's the story in Scripture, it plays out. This is what we want. We want peace in the Middle East. And of course, it is a little weird that the Abrahamic Accords looks like the Last Supper, but we'll put that aside for a second. We want peace in the Congo right now. Peace there. You remember Operation Sindor. On this channel, this is the one thing that I'm grateful for all of you being here today. I have some friends, some guests that are going to be weighing in. Oh, this is a good show. You tuned into a good one because it's kind of like the reins have been taken off. If Trump decides, fake news media, you lie, guess what? We're shutting you down. You can't air anymore. Guess what happens? It could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I have a belief and a faith that only those that are corrupt are going to be shut down. I have a faith and a belief that this is going to happen. I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to put that out there. But if he wants to, they can't stop him. It'd have to go into court. So basically the executive order would stand. You wouldn't be allowed to do your YouTube video anymore or your whatever if you're deemed to be somebody that is threatening or something that is opposing and hurtful to the citizens of the United States of America. This is the day that we're in. Now, the 14th Amendment, this has been around for quite some time. That's basically, if you come in and you have a child here and you're not a citizen, that you become a citizen just because you're born on this ground, this sacred ground. Based on recent legal fights, this has been a problem. But now it seems like there's not going to be a problem anymore because the judges now have sided with that. No more injunctions. Now, you know the irony, too, I want to point this out. It's not like all the judges were coming against, all these things that the administration was doing. A lot of people came against even the big, beautiful bill, the BBB, even Elon Musk. He's probably scratching his head. Oh, you're adding $5 trillion to the debt. How is this possible? It's a good thing he's not in another mudslinging match. I'm glad to see that they're all back on the same page, hopefully. But it's going through. Now things are different. Do you know who had these powers back in the day? During the Great Depression, President Roosevelt. Did you know that? Yeah, 1930s, during the Great Depression. He issued over 3,000 executive orders. One of them, where it'd have to be, fought out in the courts, was rounding up Japanese Americans and putting them in camps. Remember that awful stain in our history? Yeah. And you know that there are a lot of government, right now, camps that are now basically, going to be used for immigration and stuff, housing things. Now he has the ability to say, look, this is an executive order. This is a national emergency. We need to do this now. We're gonna go round everybody up. I don't know. Now, here's the good thing. This kind of keeps people from gaming the system. It also helps the people that are, legally born here. And that it would basically be someone would have to be a citizen before you can, because anchor babies are all the rage, right? I mean, there are a lot of anchor babies in the Trump administration, if you think about it in a roundabout way. So we have these two huge, very controversial things happening, and everybody wants to weigh in on them. The question is, is it good? Is it bad?
I think everything is honestly just happening for the best case scenario. I do agree with you and Trump that the media does tend to skew things sometimes in a direction that isn't always truthful. And so, like you say, a lot of times, our words have power. So what I like to do is just speak the most positive existence into reality. And even if things aren't looking their brightest around this time, I remain positive and I have faith that we're going to make it through this okay.
Yeah, many times the good stuff comes right after the bad stuff. When
Right.
it gets darkest. Listen, I came into 2025 very scared about a lot of things. I came into 2024 scared about a lot of things. But the more I'm moving forward with my faith, I'm starting to say, you know what? I think that our agreement with how things become, as God is our witness, I think that could have something to do with it. Like, I don't see President Donald Trump abusing these powers. I see him trying to be more fair. I mean, look what just happened with Israel and Iran. Everybody was like, he's sold out. He's this, that, and the other thing. Meanwhile, he's like, no, things are going to go a different way. There's going to be a new Middle East. And then here we are. I want to be hopeful about the whole thing. But then you think about it. Do you think that maybe now that he has the ability, he could abuse some powers? Do you think this thing with AI, that's the more pressing issue? Unchecked for 10 years? Do you think that's a smart thing?
That's a great question. Well, I don't think any man is perfect, but I think he wants to do the best that he can for humanity. And as far as AI goes, I just am praying and hoping that it's really for our betterment. I hope it's used within the right lines and that it's not abused.
Well, I use AI all the time. I use Grok, Rex. It's incredibly helpful. I look at it as a tool. The question, though, is, what if the singularity happens where there's consciousness? And who's to say that it hasn't already? I mean, people said that this wasn't going to be put through. They said there was no way that this was going to go through because of the unchecked regulations. And then here it is. You know how I think it could go through? Is if AI is already in charge. And so far, we're okay, right?
Yes. And if it does happen, then I think, like you say a lot of times, then God is using it for a purpose.
Yeah, people forget that God is actually in charge
Right.
of all of this stuff, And in my life, I know, when I think everything is going to go to hell in a handbasket, God's always there to remind me to put my best foot forward. So,
Right.
Franklin Roosevelt, 1930s, during the Great Depression, with these powers, I mean, what ended up happening? Japanese Americans, internment camps without due process. And it seems like this could be a thing. And then you have AI taking the reins. What are you most worried about? And what's your thinking on this? Because you're into this stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a slippery slope, So what could they be doing? I definitely think like if you come here illegally for sanctuary and you commit a crime, there should be consequences from it. But does it just stop there? Does it just stop with illegal immigrants, or will they pull that tsunami back further to even go back ones that's been here for a while?
Yeah,
So
I looked into that, Rock. Because that was the big question: is if they end up saying this is okay, then can other children that were born here, would they somehow backdate it and then they're no longer citizens? But according to the law, it wouldn't be that way. It would be like a thing going forward from now on. It can't be just you plan the childbirth by going on vacation to the United States of America, as they say. There would have to be proof that somebody lives here as a citizen. I mean, I don't know. I feel like our nation, with the birth rate decline, I feel like we should have, more people come into the country. But
that's what
AI
makes sense to me.
Is something. What do you think?
AI, I look at AI is a tool, but like you said, if it comes to when it starts getting consciousness, it could become like a kraken. It's got a head on top of it, but a whole bunch of different tentacles. And who's controlling it? If it's controlling itself, I still believe like it's just the billionaires in charge. So we're taking trust from the government and we're putting into the hands of not just the AI, but the billionaires, the ones that are the faces of it at the moment. And do they have our best interest in mind? And I like to be optimistic, but I also like to be realistic as well. And then you can see some things in that big beautiful bill, that they're giving like oil companies and different gas companies all the reign just to pollute whatever they want to pollute. They don't even have to go to like the community.
And the way they're framing it is that American oil has been like barely even tapped into, that we've become dependent on other countries, and then they're pulling the reins back. It's like that's the thing, is like you can look at these arguments from two different sides, and the question becomes, so what do we do? How do we somehow make our voices heard by holding them accountable and saying that there still needs to be regulation to a certain extent? And I think that in the bill there is, but my goodness, the thing is very, very lengthy. I don't know how people read it. It's very lengthy to begin with. But it also does things like, I think that it's a no tax on tips. You don't get taxed on overtime. I mean, there are literal things in there that are better,
beneficial,
and will be beautiful. But, a lot of people say this could tank the economy. So then where does that leave us? But AI is what concerns me, and I know that you're into AI. So give me some insight into that. Like, what is the worst case scenario, and what's the best?
Worst case scenario, they separate everybody into districts, and we become into this Hunger Game scenario, where we're all just fighting to survive, and they done made all the land unlivable, and then they move us into these smart cities, these super cities, and the best case scenario is abundance for all. I like to look at it as like the Jetson age, where we got the flying cars, everybody's not wanting for anything, and and we don't have a Terminator 2 type situation over the horizon,
That's like a dark vision of where it could go, but you're right. I mean, like Roosevelt did it in the 30s. He had internment camps. I mean, and they are, Palantirs everywhere. If you don't know who Palantir is, just Google them. And they got their fingers in everything. we're all moving towards that. We're probably moving towards a digital currency. It's happening. That's why you see countries like Iran and all these other countries starting to come like, okay, we're going to do it, because they're like, this is the direction it's going. Trump's the head of this thing. And I mean, once again, but who's in charge ultimately? God. So why is it happening? Like you said, maybe bad for some, maybe good for some. Maybe the Jetsons. That would be kind of cool.
That's what I'm hoping on, the real golden age, the real abundance for everybody. You know, poverty non-existent no more, lengthy life for everybody. You know, that's what I'm hoping on. But I do see both paths. But like you said, if you're doing good and we're doing right, and we just continue trying our best and operate in love, I think it's going to have that 100 monkey effect for everybody and bring everybody up to speed.
Yeah, the 100th monkey is a thing. It's like, you know, if there's anybody, though, that I know is not excited about AI, it is Travis. So, I mean, what is your feeling? You must be terrified, Travis.
I'm not really terrified. I'm nauseous. I hate technology, man. And Trump is known by, a man is known by his fruit. And
tell me quickly
I won my
about
prayers
AI.
2 weeks before the first one came out. I don't have any gas right now. I hang on to God's promises. Without God's promises, I'd have nothing. Nothing to live for.
That's
Nothing
actually, that was in the video that I just did. Without God's promises, I'm nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
It freaks a lot of people out. I have conversations with Travis in the background, and it's like, you know, it is what it is. AI is everything. It's everywhere. Now it's unleashed. What do you think?
I believe it's the beast. It's the image of the beast. I remember I found your video about the, it was Trump, the word MAGA meaning witchcraft, highest order of witchcraft. So that kind of like changed my perspective. I loved Trump at that point.
Well, yeah. Well, listen, hang on a second, though. Remember, MAGA also is those that led people to Jesus. They were the Magi.
Right.
You know, you're right.
Right.
It is. They're sorcerers. You know, it doesn't have to be like an evil, terrible thing. It can also be, you know, God uses everybody, you know, but go on.
When you have one of the highest witches who proclaimed that was like the best person who could lead the whole world, and then you see, you know, you had your dream of him rising up out of the coffin, or he was dancing outside the coffin.
Yeah, that it looks like he's going to lose everything, but he's going to be back stronger than ever before, dancing and laughing at everybody.
And so it's become I don't know. I don't want to say Trump's the Antichrist. I never want to say that.
Well, that's because the Antichrist is in everybody. You know, it's only mentioned in one book. Everybody wants to make it about one man. Definitely not that. But yet he is a world figure.
He's paving the way. He's definitely paving that way. And with this AI thing, it's the beast system. I believe it's just one more increment, one more technical into the beast system. And now that they've passed this whole bill, you know, what they do with the Patriot Act, you know, they sign a Patriot Act in, and have they relinquished any of that power? No. So with this, are they going to relinquish? Are they going to go back? No, they're not.
And I agree with you. I mean, you can even make the statement, WWW is, you know, Vav is 666, right? You can, I mean, you know, the image of the beast, man is a beast. So the image of man would be AI. I mean, so, AI. And I mean, listen, I'm not saying that that's not the case. But I also know that it doesn't harm those that are in the kingdom. It's actually commanded, it can't even touch it. So it's almost like this stuff is going to come in. Maybe it's going to be like a digital, you know, prison camp, like, you know, Rock was saying. Maybe it's going to be like what you're saying too, but maybe that's going to be okay for, you know, people that are doing the right thing, living good lives, and not harming others. I have to believe that God's in control. I want to believe it. You know,
it's all got to happen. All of it's got to happen.
And this is stuff like we're not like anything special. We're all like normal, everyday people. We all got our issues, you know? So these are like really big topics that are kind of silly that we're talking about it right? Does this something that crosses your path? Like, what are your feelings on it?
I hate AI. But
Tell me why. Tell me why.
well, it terrifies me. I'm afraid that it's like the Nephilim spirits.
Yeah. Well, and it can be for sure. It really does kind of manipulate people.
Yeah. And it's been manipulated people to do all kinds of stuff. Well, Alexis has manipulated people to do things.
Yeah, that's why I don't have it in home.
Yeah.
No Alexa here.
It spies on you, but it all terrifies me. I don't like that Trump has put that thing on there where you can't have any stipulations on AI. I think that's crazy. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, I think
Elon Musk warned everybody about it years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something to it. Like, I'm sure there's some restriction. It's more like it's just not crazy regulation. Once again, the bill's so huge. How, am I going to read 1,000 pages?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it, so I don't know.
So what we do is we go based on ideas. And, so my thinking is what probably you're thinking too. It sounds like a train wreck waiting to happen. What could go wrong? Like, what could go wrong?
Yeah. My youngest son is doing cybersecurity. He just graduated from Laughlin Air Force. And
what does he say? What does he feel?
What
does he think about it?
He's not too concerned. He's just now starting school, but he's not too concerned. He's excited about it.
I want to say something. He's going to school for this stuff. He's learning about this stuff. He's on the cutting edge of this stuff, and he's excited.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like we can go into our future worried about AI. We can go into the future thinking that's it. But I think that the ship has already sailed. I think we're already controlled to a certain extent. And I think that the only thing that's going to really dictate how our lives and our future goes is our faith in God, because God's behind everything, Yeah.
So God is in charge. I mean, I do agree with that. I love God with all my heart, and I trust Him. I trust in Him. But you're not supposed to worry. You're supposed to give all your worries to Him, right?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, God's in control of all of our lives, right? And I try to tell my children, things are going to be difficult sometimes. And you can go and say how unfair it is and how wrong it is and how evil and corrupt these people are. Or you can go in and see how God's using this to motivate you to not only make your life better, but the world better. I believe we can do that. I believe that, we can pray for our president to be, make the right decisions. Not saying he's gonna. We can pray. This is what I've been doing on the channel. You all know that.
Yeah, I know.
This is the thing, And I want to welcome everybody. This is our Patreon. We meet up once a month. We get together. We talk about these important things. Everybody kind of weighs in, and I think it's exciting times ahead. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's awesome times ahead.
Yeah.
Definitely exciting.
I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful too. I'm hopeful, but I'm also a little terrified.
I do believe people need a heavy hand of correction at this point.
Right.
Like I said, the idolatry is run rampant.
Yeah.
And there's no talking to people that they put a cap on the thing and it's not what they've brought up to believe. So whatever I'm saying is a lie.
We gotta love, man. We gotta love. We gotta love, and we gotta live better lives. So I want to thank you all for being here today with me, and I love all of you. I'm glad that you're all here, and I hope that everybody. Let's blow everybody a kiss. I hope that everybody enjoyed the show. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Have the best day ever. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Picture yourself happy and free, living your life the trouble, only peace. Happy at work, at home, with family or alone, regardless of where you roam. Imagine joy is all you know. Imagination is the ground where your future grows. Imagination is the key, you see. If you'd only believe, you'd receive what waits behind the door of infinite possibility. There is a desire in your heart. From this desire you must never part. See the end from the beginning. Picture